Greetings, travelers! Welcome back to Tales from the Enchanted Forest with your hosts, Fox and Sparrow.
Konnichiwa! Hello, everyone. It's another beautiful day in the forest. It's a bit cooler these days, so I'm really loving it right now.
And it's the perfect time for crime and murder.
Bum bum!
I have a specific mood when it's fall versus when it's summer versus when it's winter. And I know a lot of people really like to read romance novels when it's summer, or they'll like to read like crime novels. I specifically like to read crime novels in the fall. But, and I've discovered this, I do not like a lot of crime novels. But I am obsessed with very specific Japanese crime novels, as I have discovered. If you are not new to the podcast, you'll know that I'm very obsessed with all kinds of books, but last year, I think it was, I was obsessed with like magical realism, translated works, contemporary works, specifically the Korean ones. And then apparently now I am really obsessed with all of these Japanese crime novels. Specifically, I've recently read Strange Pictures by Yuketsu and Strange Houses by the same author. And the idea is that you get a floor plan in Strange Houses, or you get these pictures in Strange Pictures, and you have to kind of figure out what the crime was based on the way the floor plans look or the pictures look. They are absolutely, like, the plot twists that keep happening completely blew my mind. Very quick read as well. I really like books that are quick to read in the fall because I want to be able to sit down, have a cup of tea or coffee, sit outside, and then just like blaze through a crime novel. Same thing with Murder at the Black Cat Cafe. That one recently came out and I read it. It was by Seishi Yokomizu. That one was also really fun. Again, unexpected turns that you're like, what is happening? Mm-hmm. And the one I'm currently reading is called Butter. And this one, actually, I think I've seen it a lot around. Butter by Asako Yuzuki. And it's not crime in the way that you would think it is, because the crime's already happened. There's no, like, big detective. It's a journalist who's following the story. And she's trying to figure out kind of the motivation, if the person who murdered all those men did it, or if it was just accidental, like, what actually happened. Mm-hmm. And I'm really enjoying the pacing of it. And what I really like about these novels is I don't know why, but a lot of them center around conversations and around food and around people just talking in a certain way and then someone else realizing something based on the way they were saying something. I like books that are way cleverer than I am. I like books that make me feel stupid sometimes because I'm like, oh my God, I completely missed that. In some cases, like the Murder at the Black Cat Cafe, you don't know it because you don't have the information. Like, you don't know what's going on because you genuinely don't have the information yet, and another character needs to come in and tell you something before you can piece it all together. But crime novels and fall, I think, are what I'm really into at the moment.
I think you've mentioned one of these before, but I did not realize that this is the whole genre that you've kind of been doing a bit of a deep dive into. But it sounds like really interesting the way you kind of set it up in terms of just like kind of short murder mysteries. Honestly, this does remind me of what I'm currently into. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share a bit of that.
Yes. What are you currently into?
In the video game scene right now, this has been like one of those really popular indie games that's come out this year. It's called Blueprints. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not sure if you've heard of this. The point of that game is that you're like a kid who your uncle's died, so you've inherited his like large estate. But the catch is it's a 45-room estate, and he said you can only inherit it if you get to the 46th room.
Oh.
So when you enter the house, it's like a 5x9 grid, and it's a little bit like Betrayal on House on the Hill, if you know that board game at all. So you start in like the entrance hall, which is like 3 different doors, and when you go in through the door, you have to draft what room is going to be next. So it's a completely randomized house every day. So it's this crazy in
the game, or sorry, is that the board game or is that in this game?
In the so the board game Betrayal on House on the Hill is a board game where you, along with your like the group of people you play with, you have to take out random tiles from a bag or a stack. And that's like the room that's going to be in like the house, and you have to like do different stuff on that game. But in Blueprints, it's like, so Blueprints is like a mystery roguelike game. So whenever you open a door, you're given like 3 random options of rooms, and you have to decide like what room is going to be there. So you might pick up like a dead end room that's going to give you like a lot of resources. But that means you can't go further down the row, or you have to do some crazy like weird connectors on like with other rooms to try and like fill out the whole house, as it were. But as you kind of go through the house, you find a lot of history of the world you're living in, and like, oh, kind of like some weird stuff that your uncle has done, but also like you find out your mom has disappeared and things like that. So it's like a house that the more you go into, the more mysteries you find and some answers you'll find and stuff, all while trying to get to the 46th room, which in theory is like shouldn't exist because like it's only like, again, 9x5, like 45 room estate, but you have to find the 46th room.
See, that reminds me of Strange Houses, where you have to try and figure out from the floor plan why things are the way they are and what that means. I love stuff like that.
So very interesting mystery game, but also super challenging puzzles at the end. Like, as you were saying, I felt truly dumb by the end of it, going, how on earth is this all relating? What are the answers here?
Like, how did I miss this?
It's quite challenging. But that's been a game I've been playing. So it looks like we've both been on this mystery train in the fall season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is about the fall, but I do know it's very creepy and it's the perfect time for murder. But it's also all the decaying, the transition into winter, the air is getting cooler, it's crisper. So I feel like it's that kind of atmosphere where you want something darker. And I think this is a lot of reason why people rewatch Twilight during this time. They rewatch Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You know, the first time I watched Gilmore Girls, I watched it, well, the only time I watched Gilmore Girls, because I refused to watch it again because it's stupid.
It's enjoyable till it's not enjoyable.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable until you get to the part where Rory kind of self-destructs, and then you watch it because you have to keep watching it because you've put in so many hours, and then it gets to the point where you're like, I'm not rooting for anyone anymore. I don't care about anybody here except for maybe Lorelai and Luke. The vibes, immaculate. The small town, the shots of the town, the actual background and stuff like that, really cool. The actual storyline fell apart, not into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of reasons why people watch, darker things, or, the whole pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice latte, all those romance books that people read because they want to enjoy the atmosphere. It's very seasonal, even though, we're losing the seasons due to climate change. But regardless of that, I love a crisp fall day to just curl up with a book and read something.
So I hope I've picked a good story that will kind of satisfy a little bit of the mystery, a little bit of the spookiness that's good for this fall season.
Ooh.
Today's story comes from us from the 1998 book Kwaidan, Stories and Studies of Strange Things by Lafcadio Hearn. Hearn was a Greek and Irish author and translator from the mid to late 19th century. In his later years, he went to Japan where he recorded Japanese folklore in his books, making these stories available for the first time in the Western world. We've covered some Japanese stories like this before, but I always find Japanese folklore particularly wild and interesting, so I'm always excited when we get to dip back into that well. And it's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yeah, I mean, I always love when we go back to Japan just because there's so many stories to tell and there's so many different tales, but we always try to be conscious of the fact to not, repeat the same area too many times. So I'm always like, oh, and I found one from Japan. I'm like, wait, no, we've just done one from Japan. But there is something about yokai specifically that I love. So,
travelers, with all of that said, let's gather round close to the fire as we tell the tale of Jikininki. A long time ago, a monk of Zen Buddhism journeyed alone through the Mino province. As he traveled more and more in the mountainous region, He eventually became lost and could not find anyone to give him directions. He wandered helplessly and grew anxious as the day grew late and had still not found any shelter for the night. To his great relief, he spotted a small hermitage, likely meant for a single priest to reside. Despite the ruinous state of the structure, he quickly made his way over and met the very old priest who had lived there. The monk begged the old man to let him stay for the night, but he flatly refused the traveler. Instead, he told him lodging and food could be found at the hamlet in the valley. With no other option, the monk made his way to the hamlet. When he arrived, he was received by the home of the headman. He was shown to a small private room, but he couldn't help but notice the group of 40 to 50 people who had gathered at this home. He thought it curious to see such a large gathering, but he was very tired and didn't want to pry, so he ate some food and promptly fell asleep. Just before midnight, he awoke to the sound of weeping in the next room. As he was trying to figure out what was going on, a young man with a lantern gently slid open the sliding screens to his room. He respectfully saluted him and began explaining the situation. He told him that yesterday he was only the eldest son, but now he is the head of his house, for his father had passed away a few hours before he arrived. But when the traveler arrived, he knew that he was tired and didn't want the monk to feel unwelcomed, so they decided not to mention his father's passing to him. He explained that the people he saw gathered were mourners, leaving their offerings and paying their last respects to the dead. But now everyone in the village was to leave for the next village over, which was 3 miles away. See, this is the village's custom that nobody is to remain in the village the night after a death has occurred. This is because strange things always happen in the homes where the corpse has been left. With that said, he explains to the monk that he thinks it would be best for him to join the villagers in leaving for the night. But since he is a monk, he may fare better as he is not as frightened by the spirits and demons. The monk thanks his host for his hospitality and for informing him of the situation. He also laments that he wishes he had known sooner so that he could have performed his duties as a priest and perform a service before they departed. But he assures him that he will perform the ceremony after they have left and will stay by the body's side till morning. The young man was very grateful to the monk's kindness, and before he and the villagers left, he told the monk to be careful, and if anything happened during the night, to tell them what had happened when they returned in the morning. Once they had all left, the monk went to the room where the body lay. He performed the funeral ceremonies for the deceased and then began to meditate. The village was silent in the wee hours of the night, and when the night was darkest, a vague and vast shape soundlessly entered. At the same moment, the monk found that he had no power to move or even speak. The shape lifted the corpse and devoured it with great speed. Starting with the head, it consumed every hair, bone, and muscle. It even ate the shroud placed upon it. With the body gone, the monstrosity turned to the offerings and ate them as well. When none of the offerings remained, it left as mysteriously as it came. The next morning, the villagers returned to find the monk awaiting them at the front door of the headman's home. They were relieved to see him looking well and saluted him as they entered, though none were surprised at the disappearance of the body or the offerings. The monk told them of what he had witnessed the previous night. The new master of the house confirmed that his account tracked with their understanding of this matter from ancient times. The monk asked if the priests on the hill ever performed funeral services for their dead. Confused, the young man asked what the priest was talking about. The monk explained that the other evening he met the priest at the hermitage on the hill, and he was the one who directed him to the village. The villagers listened in silent astonishment, trying to make sense of the monk's words, but they told him there was no priest nor hermitage on the hill, nor has any priest lived nearby in many generations. Now, there's more to this tale, and we're going to get to it in just a moment, but if it were up to me, I think this is a relatively good spot to honestly end the story. kind of ends on that little bit of spooky twist, and it's kind of a unnerving image they've described of a kind of a shapeless creature kind of walking in and just completely devouring the body, and like also preventing the priest from even being able to move or speak during the whole event.
I mean, the whole thing just screams of some kind of ghoul or something waiting to play a trick.
It screams that something's going on. Like, this is where I think a campfire retelling would end. You know what I mean? Like, you don't give any more details. Yeah. It's just like, and it could still be out there. Ooh. But
like, leave it to them to kind of figure out what's happening next.
But the story gives us more, and I'm not going to hold that back from our travelers. So I'm going to keep going. But I wanted to point that out. I think that this would be, if you travelers are going to retell a story to your friends, this is probably a good spot to just hold off and be like, and they never saw them again. Ooh. Now, at this point, the monk could see the pitying looks on the villagers' faces, as they surely must believe him to be imagining things. So he decided not to push the matter further. After getting directions to the area and saying his goodbyes, he set out from the hamlet to look for the priest on the hill. And also, this is why I'm not a protagonist. If I realized I had seen some freaky corpse-eating spirit thingy, I'd be getting the heck out of Dodge. I'd be like, y'all are on your own. Yep. I'm done.
I would be out of there. Yeah, I'd be like, nope, this is above my pay grade. I'm going to keep going. Good luck to you.
It almost feels like, too, he's just doing this to be like, I'm going to prove to them I met the hermit. It's like, don't do it. Just leave him.
That never ends up going well.
No. If this was a horror movie, he'd be dead for sure. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. After a relatively short search, he found the hermitage once again. The old priest greeted him, and this time, he invited the monk to come inside. The monk slowly entered the creaky old home. The old priest approached him and bowed before him, explaining that he was very, very ashamed. The monk told him he needn't be ashamed of refusing shelter to him. In fact, he thanked the priest for the directions he was given, as he was treated very kindly in the nearby village. The old priest clarifies that he can give no man shelter, and he is not ashamed of refusing the monk. He is only ashamed that he had seen his real shape the previous night when he devoured the corpse and offerings before his very eyes. Dun dun dun! He reveals that he is a Jikininki, an eater of human flesh. He then begs the monk to have pity on him and hear his tale and secrets which brought him to his current circumstances. Without really waiting for a response, he launches into his tale. Long ago, he was an actual priest in this region. But the region was not well off, so there was no other priest for many miles. As such, mountain folk from far and wide would bring their dead to him so that he might perform the holy service. But the truth was, it was all business for him. He only walked through all the motions so that he could get food and clothes. Because of his selfish impiety, immediately after death, he was reborn into a Jikininki. Since then, he has felt drawn to feed upon all dead bodies in the region, just like he did the previous night. After sharing his tale, he asked the monk to help him leave this state of existence by performing a ceremony. But no sooner had he asked for this than he had vanished along with the hermitage itself, and the monk found himself alone in the high grass beside an ancient moss-grown tomb. And that is the tale of the Jikininki. So a bit more of a spooky tale. A bit of a kind of a ghoul or spirit type creature from Japanese folklore. And this is kind of one of our main stories of it. But I found the image of this creature, this shapeless kind of vast creature just devouring a corpse like that, just so unnerving that I had to bring it to the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of being a eater of human flesh, but also being like a holy man before and during his lifetime, it's an interesting form of like punishment, I think. Being able to bring comfort to people during his life, but he only did it because he wanted, it was business to him, right? So he only did it because it was work.
Yeah.
I feel like it's interesting, but at the same time, like, maybe the guy just wanted this job and now he's being punished for it for the rest of his life, and he just wanted to clock in, work the hours, and then clock out.
I understand, like, a religious job comes with more attachments than just simply walking through the motions. Like, whatever religion or spirituality you follow, like, that tends to be a bit more than just punch in and punch out. If that's what he wanted, he should have been a farmer or something.
Poor guy.
I do feel bad for him, but also, yeah.
He chose this job.
Yeah, he did do that, but now he's free, and his soul finally gets rest. Yeah, I'm not really sure if there's much more to say about the story. It is pretty straightforward.
See, that's what I like about the crime novels and stuff like this. This is the story, and there obviously, like, there's deeper elements to it, of course, with him being freed by another monk, with the people not really believing him, asking for help. There's different elements to it, but I do like just a very straightforward, I did bad things during my life, or I wasn't a great person during my life. This was my punishment. Please help me. Let the soul go. It does remind me a bit of things like Martin Mystery, if that makes sense. Like shows, even, I guess, Scooby-Doo, where, like, you have a very compact, this is the story type of thing. Here's the monster, here's the tale, which I think is really fitting for fall, because I want nice, short, I want nice and compact, and then I want to feel chills, and I want to have some questions about, well, what happens next, but there's no answer to that.
And you know what we don't have a clear answer on? Is this a yokai or not? The Jikininki, I see on, like, when I look up online, it's described as a ghoul, but also when I looked up, like, a list of yokai earlier, like, it fell under that classification. So I'm not sure or not, but we're going to say yes in this case. It is a yokai. But that does lead me to our next segment, which is I got a game. I got a game for you, Fox.
I love games.
So there's a lot of yokai. Yokai are Japanese spirits that come in very many different shapes and sizes. But you know what also comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes and types? Pokemon.
Oh my god.
So I'm going to give you a description, and you're going to tell me, is it a yokai or is it a Pokemon? Now, to be clear, Pokemon is obviously also, like, Japanese, like, a thing. So it's like, it takes a lot of inspiration from yokai. I have specifically tried to pick Pokemon descriptions that are not, like, a one-to-one directly, like, inspired by a yokai or something. So if you're like, this definitely sounds like a yokai, I know, but also Sparrow could be tricking me, being this is a Pokemon. I've tried to avoid that. I've tried to pick, so, and specifically this is Ghost Pokemon. So, they're all going to fall in that category.
Oh no, I couldn't watch these episodes when I was younger because they freaked me out. Like, when they went to the ones with Haunter and Ghastly and stuff, those freaked me out so much. I could not watch them.
Well, you don't need to tell me the name of the yokai or the Pokemon. This is like 50-50. Is it a yokai? Is it a Pokemon? That's all I'm going to be asking.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yes, I think I can do it.
All right. So, your first description. A tree with flowers that resemble human heads that smile and laugh.
Is this that weird Pokemon? I think this is that weird pineapple Pokemon.
So, is this a yokai?
Can you say it again? Wait, say it again.
Okay.
A tree? Wait, say it again. A tree?
A tree with flowers that resemble human heads that smile and laugh.
Okay, I'm thinking that pineapple Pokemon, some of them are unhappy. Some of them have, like, sad faces. So I'm going to say...
Oh, here, I even cut it off a bit early. It's a tree with flowers that resemble human heads that smile and laugh even as their petals fall, and they will wilt like any normal flower.
This is a yokai.
Yeah? All right,
This is not a Pokemon.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Do.
Well, I'm stuck on this, like, this pineapple, like this pineapple looking Pokemon, which I don't think is, like, I know some of them have sad. Okay, no, this is a yokai.
You are correct. This is a yokai. I am very curious as to what the
Yes.
pineapple Pokemon you're thinking of is.
Do you want me to Google it? I can
Wait.
Google
Are
it
you
and tell
thinking
you.
of Executor? That's a palm tree, though.
Executor? Oh, it is a pine tree. Yeah, in my head, I must have been like, I've never seen this giant one. I've only seen the tiny one that looks like a pineapple.
So that's the Alola version.
This is the coconut Pokemon.
Yeah.
It says.
In later games, Pokemon does this thing, which I honestly kind of like, is they have region-specific Pokemon. So the idea being, Pokemon in this region after like hundreds of thousands of years, it eventually evolved and looks a bit different. So they go to like the Alola region, which is like
fine.
Hawaii. So like Executor grows really tall there because it's like the ideal conditions for it to do that.
You know what? That makes sense.
Honestly, I kind of like it. Okay, you ready for the next one?
Yes.
A lonely spirit that possesses a leftover cup of tea and absorbs the life of those who drink it.
This is a yokai.
All right.
I cannot think of what Pokemon this would be.
This
is a yokai.
All right. And the answer is, this is a Pokemon.
What? What Pokemon what? Which Pokemon is it?
Specifically, this is Sinesti. This came in the Galar region. Galar is kind of their equivalent to Britain, so they had a cup of tea ghost Pokemon.
I'm just gonna Google it. Sinesti.
Yeah, Sinesti. It feels like they took the word sinister and tea. Sinesti.
Oh, like okay. I see it.
Yeah. So it is like it's possessed some leftover tea and it absorbs the life of those who try and drink it.
It's like haunted, like Miss Potts.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Chip.
Yeah, it's the Chip version. I didn't go with its evolved form, which I don't know the name of offhand. I know
That's
Pokemon, but this is definitely where I was losing interest in the series. Okay, so you ready for the next one?
Yes.
A spirit that attacks people who get lost in the mountains. Said to be the culprit behind shadows that laugh in the moonlight.
See, I know this is a yokai. No, I don't, because I'm thinking of the woman, never mind, the snow woman, the snow lady, whatever her name was. Okay, I'm gonna say yokai.
Yokai. All right. Do. This is actually a Pokemon.
Okay. I'm not very good at this, apparently.
This is the only other one I think you might actually know the name of. The other thing it's known for as a ghost Pokemon is that it's like if you feel a sudden chill when you walk into a shadow, it means this Pokemon's nearby. And it is also known for its like Cheshire like smile, which is why it highlighted its laugh.
Oh.
This is Gengar.
This is Gengar.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was specific to like the mountains or anything. I just thought he just liked to laugh.
I will say I got this description from Pokemon Stadium. So, like, this is the other thing. Pokedex entries are so many, like, they always different stuff. It only rarely mentions that it has attachment to the mountain. I just thought I just thought this one might trip you up if I added the mountain part. But it does come up in its Pokedex entries only from time to time. Its main thing is that it gets cold nearby when it's there. But it's
I did not know
spooky Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ready for your next one?
Yes.
A monster that drops out of the tops of trees to attack and sometimes eat those who pass beneath the trees. Is this a yokai or a Pokemon?
Okay, the last two were Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this one is a yokai?
You would be correct. This is a yokai.
No. Yes, okay.
Oh, no. I should have given you another minute.
No. No, you shouldn't. You were fine.
Yes.
That was okay.
This is a yokai.
Woo!
All right. I've got two more. You ready for the next one?
Yes.
All right. This one's short and simple. A spirit that licks off filth in untidy bathrooms. Is this a yokai or a Pokemon?
This is a yokai.
Yeah, it's a yokai. No Pokemon.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, no Pokemon is gonna do that. That's a bit.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But also, I just thought it was such a funny description that I had to include it. Be like, Yokai do a lot of things.
Yokai do a lot of things. Oh my god.
Okay. You ready for the last one?
Yes.
A spirit that grabs the hands of small children and drags them away to the afterlife. It dislikes heavy children.
It dislikes heavy children. This is a Pokemon. No, this is a yokai.
All right, you're locking it in?
Yeah.
This is a Pokemon. This is the Pokemon Drifloon.
A Pokemon that hates heavy children.
It is literally a balloon Pokemon.
Oh, I know this
So
one.
it's like helium. So if it's going to fly away with them, it can't do it with heavy children.
Yeah, okay.
Also, just really funny. That's part of the Pokédex entry. It dislikes heavy children. It's like, okay, bro.
Wow. Fat shaming.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Heavy children are adorable.
Hey, be safe. Eat cake, kids.
You're about to get kidnapped, and then all of a sudden it's like, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Oof.
So there you go. Thank you so much for playing. I think you know your yokai better than your Pokemon, but you know what? All fair. That's what we're focusing on here in this podcast.
Back in my day, we had a few ghostly Pokemon, and it was Haunter, it was Coffin. Is Coffin ghost type?
Was poison type, but probably would be in this, like, we probably, if we were just dealing with the 150, we'd probably include it, in terms of, like, this conversation. Alakazam is also really messed up, and that's a psychic type Pokemon.
You know what? Maybe I'm just associating purple Pokemon with ghost types.
That's fair. If I recall correctly, Drowsy is also based off a yokai, and it's also psychic. So I could have also dipped into psychic Pokemon. They also tend to go down that route. But I thought with the Halloween season, we'd focus on the spooky ghost type Pokemon. And there are some other really creepy descriptions, but they were too much like yokai, actual existing yokai, so I was going to steer away from them. But Pokemon can really lean into its spooky side.
Yes. And I think a lot of Pokemon, because some of them are associated with yokai, but just some of them have really dark backstories. And so even though the Pokemon itself might not be a ghost type, it's creepy just because of what it can do, or it's the story they told when it's on the TV show, I think.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I think that's all the time we got this week. Thank you, dear travelers, so much for joining us for this episode.
And if you want to hear more from us and find out what our next tale will be, then you can join us on social media sites like Bluesky under our podcast name or at From Enchanted. However, if you're old school like Sparrow, then you can always email us at talesfromenchantedforest@gmail.com. We would love to hear your questions, comments, and suggestions. And as always, everything is on our website, so be sure to check that out as well.
And remember, there's always a place for you in the Enchanted Forest.